Welcome to the Investing Podcast, presented by Tusk Media. Now, for your early morning look at financial news and activity in audio and video form, here's the Morning Market Mimosa.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Investing Podcast. This is the Morning Market Mimosa for Thursday, September 8th, 2016. I'm Andrew Hall. Joining me, as always, in the morning, Mr. Benjamin Nye. Ben, what's up?
It's going well. We're excited to have the coffee back on.
Man, we've had a real coffee crisis going on in the office. We've got a really fancy coffee machine, so fancy that we have to bring in like a technician when it breaks. And it's broken, and I'm struggling big time right now. It's like day 2 or 3. We've been making Starbucks runs, don't worry, but we hadn't caffeinated yet, so bear with us. Good news is futures basically flat, Dow futures totally flat, S&P futures down 1 basis point, NASDAQ futures down 3 basis points, so really not going anywhere. Gold up just a little bit, oil up about 1.5%, but not a ton going on. We'll touch on Apple, we touched on this yesterday, but some product announcements, anything that you're excited about?
Not that I'm really excited about. I think that at some point it's just you need more memory in your phone.
Yeah.
And so you kind of have to, I'm still on the 16 gig, and so I'm going to have to upgrade at some point.
Yeah.
Something with a little more memory, because the operating system's taking up more and more space itself. So.
Yeah. So you got that. You've got the no headphone jack, which we've talked about. The new phones will come with a lightning adapter and regular headphones, or for $160 you can buy what they're calling AirPods, which I don't think is what they wanted to name them. I really think they would have gone with Airbuds, but there's already a movie, one of the all-time classic movies, probably won several Academy Awards, I'd have to go back and look, called Airbud. So Airbud was taken, they went with AirPods, picture the cord chopped off your currently existing earbuds. That's what an AirPod is.
Right.
Are you a buyer?
It's a difficult one for me. $160 is a steep price for a product that kind of already out there.
Yeah.
So I guess they're saying that can swim with them or something.
Yeah, it's going to be, I think, a little bit. And I suppose so. You're going to have I guess the technical ability to do more. Then also they're saying you're going to have better playback. All of those things that maybe you would expect from Beats headphones and all that. Which I've actually heard Beats headphones are not all that great.
Yeah.
It's just great marketing. But so they've got a chip in them that supposedly is going to have Bluetooth on steroids, basically, to where you're able to really have lossless playback and all that good stuff. But I'm not buying them for $160.
And it's surprising that they're not coming out till end of October, middle of October, and that is in contrast to the iPhone, which is going to be available in a week or a little over a week
real
from now.
soon. So it's kind of odd. I guess they're trying to build this more as a standalone product. Same chip, the W1 chip, the Apple chip is going to start going into more Beats headphones. So that I guess if you don't want to buy the AirPods, terrible name.
Yeah.
Terrible name. I don't quite get it because we've had a generation, multiple generations of pod products. I never thought that iPod referred to what was in my ear.
Right. It's very strange.
Yeah, so very odd, but I don't know. I mean, everybody seemed to be pretty neutral. I don't think anybody's devastated. I don't think there was a lot of surprises or anything like that. Some improvements to the Apple Watch. It's going to be water resistant, so increasing that. Supposedly the GPS is going to be better. So I can see
that's pretty remarkable to make some hardware that electronic hardware with openings that can go down 50 meters.
Yeah, that's impressive.
Yeah.
So I think that's a legitimate. That I'm not a Apple Watch guy at all, but that definitely would make it, I think, more viable for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Who maybe have those barriers to entry. Twitter. We talked about this during the week. We've talked about it a couple times. Report coming out from CNBC. What are you seeing?
CNBC saying that there are no bids for Twitter, and that they're going to focus on cost cutting going forward. This is kind of the stuff that you don't like to see out of a growth company. Focus on
we can
cost
save
cutting.
some money,
right? Yeah, for something that's it's valued on a multiple of what people think the total addressable market is, rather than what they're doing now. And if that addressable market is now what they're doing now,
right?
A lot of reevaluation that has to take place.
Yeah, and certainly I think lends its hands to mismanagement or just definitely lends its hands to mismanagement, both on the cost-cutting front as well as the front of, hey, we let a story out that we were going to look at all our bids.
Right.
Oops, there's not any. So yeah, that's certainly not good. Stock down about 5% in pre-market trading, which honestly I would think would have been worse.
Yeah, I very much agree on that.
You know, it ran up, maybe close to 3% on Monday, it seemed like,
Yeah.
on news that there might be. So it's still trading at a decent spot relative
Yeah.
to recent history. Certainly not relative to where it was a year or 2 years ago, but it's there nonetheless. Jobless claims, we talked about, just kind of this flood of data that we continue to get. Jobless claims this week dipped to a 2-month low. So that's good news, I guess, if you're looking for a rate hike, although we'll have a new number next week. So
Yeah.
we can kind of look forward to
Jolt's data, which is job openings,
Mhm.
that was out yesterday, and that was also pretty good. A lot of job openings, people leaving jobs like of their own
Of their
volition
own,
more,
yeah.
not very many firings. So from that point of view, the job picture is actually reasonably sound,
Mhm.
which may give the Fed, which may temper some of the
Right.
bad vibes from
Mhm.
last Friday's
Mhm.
unemployment report.
Yeah. And we had I forget what they called it, but like the defense
The
forum?
Commander-in-Chief.
The Commander-in-Chief forum last night. Trump, Clinton, not really a debate, but both people talking. Any first impressions? I got a couple quotes from Trump that I think are just absolute gold, as you'd expect, but any impressions from it?
So I watched about half of it. I watched about half of Secretary Clinton's and half of Trump's interviews. And the moderator for, I think, Matt Lauer,
Yeah.
he
Riding
received
high
a
off
lot
his,
of criticism.
riding high off his big Lochte bus.
Right. He received a lot of criticism for his Hillary interview,
Mhm.
which was kind of interesting to me because I thought he would be more in that camp.
Yep.
But apparently he grilled her extensively on emails, and one of the questions from the audience was essentially, I would be in jail, why aren't you in jail?
Yep.
And then I think it was pretty hard on Trump though too.
Yeah, I thought, based on reaction, and I watched bits and pieces, not the whole thing, there was a big concern that he was the moderator in the first place, because I don't know if you saw these stories, but he was very involved on, not the Clinton Foundation, but kind of an extension of it. He was on the board of it for a while, so it was kind of like, hey, we got somebody that's in the Clintons'
Right.
camp moderating the first public, not debate, but conversation between these two people. So a lot of people were worried about that, but it sounds like he kind of did a good job, which I would assume would be the case for anybody in that
Yeah.
position. I
Right.
feel like, I don't watch the Today Show or anything like that with Matt Lauer, but I feel like he's got a decent reputation as someone who's got a job to do.
Right. Professional.
Exactly. Trump, a couple quotes here. The bromance with Putin continues. He said, if he says great things about me, I'm going to say great things about him. And that's diplomacy at its finest. Along those notes, we would love to get an endorsement from Donald Trump for the Investing Podcast. So I think Donald Trump is fantastic.
He's the greatest. Yeah.
We're saying great things about him. I can't wait to hear what he says about us. He also said of Putin, certainly in that system, he's been a leader, for much more so than our president has been.
In that system.
In that system. You know who else was a great leader in a system? Hitler. So effective leadership. That's all Trump's asking for.
Indeed.
Any other thoughts from the forum?
That's about it. Probably par for the course. I'm guessing it probably doesn't change much. The debates are going to be really interesting though,
Okay.
because I think there are still a lot of undecided voters out there, and if you're debating between who you like least. In fact, I was thinking back on it, and going back through the past elections, these debates, I know everyone always says debates, but in this circumstance, I actually think that they are important because there are so many undecided voters, and neither candidate really has a strong grip.
They don't, and their unfavorability measures are incredibly high, even within their own parties. I do think that, there's going to be swing voters from both parties and independents, which I don't feel like has been the case. Romney got in trouble for saying, in that donation thing 4 years ago that, there's 48% of the country is going to vote one way just because of circumstance, and got in tons of trouble. But if you remove, kind of the rhetoric behind that and just say typically that's actually a pretty factual statement, and that 96% of the population is going to vote either this way or this way, no matter what.
Right.
I don't think that's the case this year. I think we got more up for interpretation. Along those lines, and I just saw this headline, and I'm certainly not implying that this is the most accurate or a holistic picture, but CNN has Trump leading right now.
Really?
45 to 43. So that's a CNN poll that came out yesterday afternoon.
Wow.
So who knows what's going to happen. We'll be back for lunchtime. We'll be back at the end of the day. We'll update you guys on college football at the end of the day. That's why you're all here. And we will talk to you soon. Have a great day.
Tusk Media is a subsidiary of Narwhal Capital Management. Ratings and reviews of Tusk Media content are not to be construed as endorsements of opinions, analysis, or services offered by Tusk or its parent company. The opinions and predictions shared here are our professional beliefs at the time of publication. We are not under duress from any of the corporate entities mentioned. This is not a solicitation to take any particular action. Although we are investment advisors, this information should not be considered investment, legal, or tax advice. We strive to be as impartial, insightful, and accurate as possible. We base our opinions, analysis, and calculations on information we believe to be reliable, but we cannot guarantee its accuracy. We can, however, guarantee that our opinions will sometimes be flat out wrong due to a variety of factors. Employees and clients of Narwhal Capital Management may or may not hold positions in the securities detailed and may or may not hold these positions in the future. A full list of all securities purchased, sold, or held during the 12 months preceding the date of this publication can be provided upon request. Unless otherwise noted, all data accessed via MarketWatch or the Bloomberg terminal. Past performance does not guarantee future results. A copy of Narwhal's Form ADV is available at the SEC's website, www.advisorinfo.sec.gov, or from Narwhal upon written request.